All right, so are you ready for this? Today we're going deep on this this new potential target in cancer immunotherapy. It's called LILT. And we've got this fascinating article from Assay Genie's blog. It's all about how blocking this protein, LILT, is showing some really serious promise, like in preclinical and early clinical trials. Pretty cool stuff. It could be like the next big thing, you know, after those game changers we've seen like PD-1 and CTLA-4. You've heard of those, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Definitely familiar with those.
They're basically those proteins on your immune cells that some cancers can like hijack to kind of turn off the immune system's attack.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And what's really interesting about this new research on LILT is that it seems to work in a similar way, but it could help us like overcome some of the challenges we've seen with those existing immunotherapies.
Interesting. So
yeah.
Back to LILT.
Right.
What is it exactly? And where do we even find it?
So LILT stands for Leukocyte Immunoglobulin-Like Transcript, as the name kind of suggests. It's mainly found on leukocytes, which are the cells that make up your immune system, like T cells and natural killer cells.
Okay, so it's like another one of those checkpoints on immune cells, right? They can either put the brakes on an immune response or let it rip.
Exactly. And, you know, unfortunately, when it comes to cancer, sometimes tumors can manipulate LILT to their advantage.
Oh, I bet they do.
Yeah.
So walk me through this. How does this whole LILT thing actually work? Like, how does it actually help tumors hide from the immune system?
Okay, so think of it this way. Your immune cells, like T cells, they're constantly patrolling your body, looking for anything suspicious, like cancer cells. And they have these receptors that help them recognize threats, right?
Yeah.
Now, tumor cells, they can express specific molecules called ligands that bind to LILT receptors on the immune cells. And when that happens, it's basically like sending a stand-down signal to the immune system.
So the tumor cell's like waving a fake ID badge, pretending to be a friendly cell, so the immune system just passes right by.
Yeah. That's a great way to think about it. The tumor is essentially disguising itself. And this binding, this interaction between the tumor's ligands and the immune cell's LILT receptors suppresses the activity of those, you know, those crucial cancer-fighting T cells and natural killer cells.
Man, tumors are sneaky. But wait, the article mentions this antibody called 3G4. Is that the secret weapon? That finally brings LILT down.
3G4, yeah. 3G4 could be a real game changer. It's a monoclonal antibody, which means it's designed to target a very specific protein, in this case, LILT.
Okay, so it's like a guided missile that homes in on LILT and shuts it down. I'm guessing this is where things start to get really interesting for cancer treatment.
You got it. 3G4 binds to the LILT receptors on the immune cells, blocking them from interacting with the sneaky ligands expressed by the tumor cells.
So no more stand-down signal, the tumor's disguise is blown, and the immune system can finally see it for what it really is.
Okay.
I'm officially getting excited about this. But how does 3G4 actually flip that switch on the immune cells? Like what's happening at a molecular level?
It's pretty amazing, actually. You see, when the tumor's ligands bind to LILT, it triggers this whole cascade of signals inside the immune cell. Think of it like a chain reaction that ultimately tells the cell to shut down its attack mode. But when 3G4 binds to LILT, it essentially blocks that chain reaction from happening. The off switch is jammed.
Yeah.
And the immune cell stays active and ready to fight.
So 3G4 is like that friend who keeps you from hitting the snooze button when your alarm goes off in the morning. Make sure you're up and ready to face the day.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. It's all about keeping those immune cells alert and ready to go after those cancer cells. And the really exciting thing is this. 3G4 doesn't have to work alone. The article mentions some really interesting results when they combined anti-LILT therapy with those existing immunotherapies, like anti-PD-1 and anti-CTLA-4.
Wait, really? So it's like adding a brand new weapon to the arsenal.
Exactly. And it could be particularly helpful for patients who haven't responded well to those other therapies. Imagine if we could like overcome that resistance and unleash an even stronger immune response.
Okay, hold on. I need to back up for a second. I get that PD-1 and CTLA-4 are also checkpoints, but how are they different from LILT?
So they're all involved in regulating the immune response, but they work in slightly different ways and even bind to different ligands. Think of it like having multiple brake pedals in a car, each controlling a different aspect of the braking system.
Okay, so more brakes to disable, more ways to keep that immune system going full speed ahead.
Got it. But why would combining these therapies be better than just using one of them alone?
Okay, well, imagine you're trying to break down a door. You could use one really strong tool, or you could use multiple tools that work together to weaken the door from different angles.
So by targeting multiple checkpoints at once, You're basically overwhelming the tumor's defenses.
Precisely. It's like hitting the cancer from multiple sides, making it much harder for it to escape the immune system's attack. And the article even gives some specific examples of how this combination therapy could work for different types of cancer.
Oh, yeah, I remember reading about that. What were some of the highlights? Well, for lung cancer, they found that combining anti-LILT therapy with anti-PD-1 therapy led to a greater number of immune cells infiltrating the tumor and more tumor shrinkage.
So basically, the anti-LLT therapy was clearing the path for those PD-1 targeted immune cells to get in there and do their job. What about other cancers?
Well, they also saw promising results in ovarian cancer. Combining anti-LILT therapy with chemotherapy seemed to enhance the immune response, leading to better survival rates.
Wow, that's incredible. So even traditional treatments like chemotherapy could become even more effective with the addition of anti-LLT therapy.
It seems that way. And for melanoma, which is often treated with CTLA-4 inhibitors, adding an anti-LILT therapy could ramp up T-cell activation and lead to more tumor destruction.
This all sounds amazing,
Yeah.
but I have to ask, how did scientists even discover LLT in the first place? It seems like finding a needle in a haystack.
It definitely takes a lot of work. Scientists have to analyze huge amounts of data and conduct countless experiments to identify potential targets like LILT. They often start by looking at the genes that are expressed in different types of immune cells and comparing those to the genes expressed in cancer cells.
So it's like playing a giant game of spot the difference, looking for anything unusual that stands out.
Exactly. And sometimes it involves testing thousands of different molecules to see if they have any effect on immune cell activity. It's a long and complex process, but it can lead to incredible breakthroughs.
Speaking of breakthroughs, the article mentions that LILT could revolutionize cancer treatment, but it also makes it clear that this research is still in its early stages. What does that mean for people who are looking for new treatment options right now?
Well, it means we need to be cautiously optimistic. The early results are definitely encouraging, but we need more data from larger, longer-term studies to confirm that these therapies are safe and effective for a wider range of patients.
So it's not a case of running to the doctor tomorrow and demanding this treatment. It's more about watching this space with a sense of hope.
That's a good way to put it. It takes time to move from those initial discoveries in the lab to having a treatment that's widely available and approved for use in the clinic.
I can imagine that must be frustrating for patients and their families who are dealing with cancer right now. But it's good to know that this research is moving forward and that there's potential for new and better treatments down the road.
Absolutely. And it's not just about developing new therapies, it's also about understanding how to use those therapies most effectively. For example, one of the biggest challenges researchers are working on is figuring out how to select the patients who are most likely to benefit from anti-LILT therapy.
So not everyone would necessarily respond the same way.
Exactly. Just like with other cancer treatments, there's a lot of variation between individuals. So researchers are searching for biomarkers that can predict who is most likely to respond to anti-LILT therapy.
So it's about tailoring treatment to the individual, kind of like personalized medicine.
You got it. And that's where those biomarkers come in. They can help doctors identify the patients who are most likely to benefit from a particular treatment, saving valuable time and resources.
That makes a lot of sense. Are there other challenges researchers are trying to tackle when it comes to LLT?
Another big one is understanding the long-term effects of anti-LILT therapy. Can these treatments lead to long-lasting remission? Or is there a risk of the cancer coming back down the line? We need more data to answer those questions.
So it's not just about getting rid of the cancer in the short term, it's about making sure it stays gone.
Exactly. And of course, that there's always the challenge of managing potential side effects.
Right, because even though these therapies are designed to boost the immune system, sometimes that can lead to unintended consequences, like the immune system attacking healthy tissues.
That's right. So researchers are constantly working to improve the safety profile of these treatments and to find ways to minimize those risks.
It sounds like there's still a lot to learn about LILT and how it can be used to fight cancer. But it's amazing to see how far this research has already come.
It really is. And it highlights the importance of continued research and investment in this field. Who knows what other breakthroughs might be just around the corner.
Yeah, it really makes you wonder what other potential targets are out there just waiting to be discovered. What if we could map out the entire immune system and find all those hidden checkpoints?
That's the dream, right? And with all the advances in technology and our understanding of the immune system, we're getting closer to that goal every day. There's so much we still don't know. But the potential is truly mind-blowing.
I know we've been focusing on LILT, but are there any other promising immune checkpoints out there that researchers are excited about?
Oh, there are actually quite a few. It's a very active area of research. For example, there's one called TIM-3 that's been getting a lot of attention lately. It seems to play a role in suppressing the immune response in a variety of cancers.
Oh, wow. So potentially another target for immunotherapy. Is it similar to LILT and how it works?
Yeah, it's also expressed on immune cells, and it can bind to ligands on tumor cells,
Right.
leading to immune suppression. But the specific mechanisms and the types of cells involved might be slightly different.
It seems like there's this whole network of these checkpoints
Yeah.
all interacting with each other in these complex ways.
Exactly, and that's what makes this research so challenging, but also so fascinating. It's like trying to solve this giant puzzle. But with every piece we uncover, we get a clearer picture of how the immune system works and how we can manipulate it to fight disease.
It's incredible to think about how much progress has been made in immunotherapy in just the past few years. And to think that this is just the
It
beginning.
really is an exciting time to be in this field, and it's important to remember that all of this progress is thanks to the dedication and hard work of countless researchers, clinicians, and patients who are committed to finding new and better ways to treat cancer.
It's a good reminder that even though we've covered a lot of complex information today, behind all the science
Yeah.
are real people whose lives are directly impacted by these discoveries.
Yeah, that's so important to keep in mind. And for anyone listening who might be dealing with cancer, I want to emphasize that there's always hope. The field of immunotherapy is rapidly evolving, and new treatments are being developed all the time.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into LILT, and the future of cancer immunotherapy, what's the one key message you want our listener to take away?
I think it's this: never underestimate the power of the human body to heal itself. And with the help of science, we're finding new and incredible ways to unlock that power and harness the immune system to fight disease.
That's a great note to end on. So to our listener, we encourage you to stay curious, keep learning,
Oh, yeah.
and never lose hope. The future of medicine is bright, and breakthroughs like LILT are just the beginning. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, too.